What is going on, everybody? BobbyFi with my man Eric Sheets Haber. Hope you're all having a good Tuesday. Coming off of an MLB night where I actually did pretty well. I had some shots, but not quite enough to get there. I did love the Cardinals at the end, which we talked about, and Sheets talked about that as well. And yeah, but overall a good night for me. Ready to do a little bit better tonight and get into it. Sheets, how are you doing? And fill us in.
Didn't do as well as you did. I played again. I told everybody I played 150 lineups in baseball. I really thought it was appropriate, and I was right about it. I mean, because no pitcher really until I guess Musgrove. I guess he ended up being the clear best. But Duffy was good too. You know what I mean? Like so there were so I spread it out a little bit, and even the dude that faced the Angels was good, and Sheffield hung in there. You know, so it was I was right on my approach. I probably spread a little too thin, right? Because if I had gone heavy, if I played only like 5 or 6 bigger lineups, I probably would have had the Cardinals in probably almost all of them. Yeah. Who knows what would have happened. But nonetheless, happy with the process. Results are what they are. It's amazing how the chalk kind of got there, you know, with the Belt 20% hit a home run. DeYoung was pretty popular. He hit a home run. He had 2 home runs.
Yeah.
That was but yet on the other hand, you get Mike Trout. I don't think I've ever seen him strike out 3 times.
Oh, that was brutal. I had all that was what really hurt my lineups, was having so much Trout. Betts was okay. Seager was good, obviously, but you don't have Young then. And then the Dodgers and Angels were.
Oh, but you know who was really good? We talked about this. We both. I had more than you did. I think you didn't have in your big one, but the Justin Williams.
Yeah, that was big.
So I heard a wild stat or something that he and his X amount of swings or whatever has like the highest exit velocity of, like, he's like at the top 99th percentile or something like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so he swings it hard, whatever that's worth.
Yeah, that was I think it was they said the lowest hit home run of the year so far, or something like that.
That too. Yeah, I think that also.
So anyway, all right, well, let's jump into today's slate. We got a big one, so we can get after it, and we'll pull your screen up and we'll go game by game here.
Yep, hold on. Let me.
And I think that some things have changed in the last just hour, even. So I'm just.
Oh, is that right? There's a new pitcher.
Starting pitching. Yeah, I think that we might have. I don't know. I see Berrios as a possibility. We got to get updated on that, but that's going to be the only thing that's probably relevant from this first game.
Well, what's interesting, by the way, everybody. Look at the start times. We're gonna have to go early tonight, Bobby.
Yeah, so we'll do our normal time.
No.
Because basketball doesn't start till 4:30, but we can just cut it off at 4 or 7, I should say.
Yeah, but no. You listen. So you see when the first game is, right?
Yeah, 3:30.
Oh, okay. Because that's definitely new for me.
Yeah, it's different. They're gonna have more of that this year. The team has been shifting over the last couple of years, but what we do is we'll do the 6 p.m. and then just go to 7.
And the slates are different on FanDuel as well, so just everybody keep that in mind.
Yeah, FanDuel starts, but it's the basic thing, right?
I think they're like much fewer games.
Oh no, they didn't do it. Okay, I thought they actually did. I hadn't entered my FanDuel lineups yet, but I had just been looking at it. Yeah, they did it at 7 p.m. It was the opposite last year. FanDuel was doing the early ones and DraftKings wasn't. All right, well, so be it. So this is what we're doing. So we're going to talk from DraftKings, and then we'll jump over and touch on some FanDuel at the end.
Unless FanDuel continues to not launch for me, in which case we'll just talk about DraftKings.
Okay. All right, so let's get into the first game on DraftKings, which I need to see about the pitching. Who's pitching here? I've got Berrios and Shoemaker as possible, but it's a doubleheader, so it's a weird situation. If Berrios is pitching, I have a lot of interest in Berrios. I think that you can make an argument for Manaea, but I don't think I'm going to do it on this slate. And obviously, you're not playing bats in a 7-inning doubleheader game.
Right. So the way the slate is laying out for me, at least first look on DraftKings, is there's one total standout and then like 100-way tie for me, at least. So I could use a situation if Berrios could come in and look really, really strong. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'd have to see how he looks. But like for me, it's I'm gonna have interest in like a zillion pitchers today. So I don't know exactly how I'm gonna make that work. So I'll be really interested in playing some Berrios if in fact he's in there. But the thing is, one of the guys I don't have is Manaea.
Yeah, I'm not like especially interested. I just wanted to mention him because I think he's okay. I don't think I'm gonna end up doing it.
Okay.
But it is okay. Like, I mean, it's not like a terrible situation. Shorter game might help him actually.
Oh, that's right. Well, this is a doubleheader. Is that what that is?
Yeah, you always get that chance, that complete game. But yeah, you definitely rate him higher for it. But I don't know that he's going to necessarily get through all 7 innings anyway. So it's tough. I mean, it's not like Minnesota's like a total cake lineup or anything. Especially with Buxton back in it.
Buxton at 6,100 or something.
6,200.
But I didn't really have any significant interest in the hitting either. Did anything stand out for you?
No, you don't want to play hitters in 7 innings. You just don't do it on full speed.
Oh, okay. Is this the only 7-inning game?
Yeah,
okay.
I believe so. I mean, I don't have anything else.
No wonder no one's showing up as projecting.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can't play. You literally, if you're going to do that on a full slate, just give away the money.
No, it's fine. Okay, I just wasn't aware. I was wondering why nothing showed up.
Yeah, exactly. We have an interesting one in the next one. The pitching is, I like both of these pitchers, especially Morton in general. The Yankees have had some struggles early in the season. I still don't know if I can bring myself to do it on such a big slate to play Morton here, but I would say that he'll get his pitches. He's a competitor out there. Like, he's a good pitcher. It's just a tough matchup. And I believe it's pretty cool where you are today. Is that right? Sheets, I'm gonna double check my weather here.
No.
Oh, it's not. Well,
no, it's not.
Oh my God, 66 actually looks pretty good. It's odd. Yeah, I mean, they're really giving respect to the pitchers.
Excuse me. This should be. This is better than Roth. I'm wearing a short sleeve T-shirt. I'm wearing short sleeves.
Oh, there you go.
Better than Roth's weather is Eric's clothes.
Yeah, I guess that does open things up a little bit more. I still don't find myself wanting to stack these teams, which could be a mistake in Yankee Stadium. I don't know, man. I think I'm sort of like neutral on this one.
Yeah. So here's where I'm at. First of all, I just want to let you know, it's one of the things that when you sometimes refer to, your Yankees, the reason why I've never really been able to be full committing to like a Yankee fan, like my whole life, honestly. I mean, I did when I was younger, just because those are the teams or what I was rooting for. Is that they're just so like the Yankee fans just so freaking funny, It's like you should hear the freaking mutiny that's going on in the New York sports area. They are hanging the Yankee Cashman up by a string and Boone, and they are just burying them. Oh my God! Like, this is like a worst run organization in like the history of baseball. This and the other. They haven't won a World Series in, what was it, a year? I don't know, whatever it was, but it's just a team you just can't have any sympathy for. You know what I mean? You just zero. So with that said, I have some interest in Morton. As I mentioned, it's a big wall of pitchers as my second pitcher. And he's just one of them. I'm not getting Italian, and I'm actually not really getting to much of the hitting either, which is a little strange, I guess. But I'm just not, especially on DraftKings. FanDuel, for whatever reason, I'm into I don't even know if these guys are even on the FanDuel slate, but in general, the FanDuel hitting is like more spread out for me. On DraftKings, I'm just not getting to either of these hittings.
Yeah, this one's not on the FanDuel slate. Yeah, I'm just not getting there. And also, like, I mean, Atlanta is not the same lineup without Acuna, so that's that. All right, Arizona, Cincinnati. This is where I have the most interest at my. Wait a minute, hold on. Yeah, wrong buttons. I think that Castillo at 6,600 is a joke. I will have him as my primary pitcher on DraftKings, assuming the weather ends up okay over there.
I'm going to have 100% Castillo on DraftKings. Mm-hmm. He's clearly my standout for me. I mean, by like a zillion. I imagine he's just got to be huge chalk, but I can't quite get away from that. I mean, not at that price. They priced him really low in the last game, and I hate to put it this way, but the DraftKings game summary actually did the justice. He gave it all back in one inning, and then he was good after that. Actually, it's actually a misleading line score. And dude, you see a Luis Castillo game with no walks, you know,
Mhm.
and the game before, I mean, 98 pitches with no walks, and then he's 6,600 the next game. I mean, sign me up, man. So I'm gonna eat that chalk, and as they like to say, as the kids like to say, get different elsewhere.
Yeah. Even with that, so the only hitting that I have from this game, and I actually think Gallen's a really, really talented guy. I don't trust the Arizona bullpen, but
He's one of my, by the way, one of my wall of second pitchers, by the way.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I get a little worried about how many pitches they're going to let him throw and stuff like that. But he does belong, I guess, in that list. But I do like the only guy who stands out particularly though for me is Cole Calhoun at 2,500 is kind of ridiculous. All the guys you could make an argument for, just because it's so cheap. But I think Cole Calhoun at 2,500 is
I agree with that
value if you're not playing Castillo.
Yep, I agree with that.
All right, so ready to move on to Baltimore and Miami.
Yep. Okay, so this is going to come as no surprise, obviously, but Miami's one of my top stacks. They always are anyway, and now he's against Harvey. Now they're against Harvey. I guess they'll be popular. No, I mean people love to stack against Matt Harvey. So I presume that if people want to pay up for other things, they'll use the Miami guys as at least pieces, right, to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Miami, and the other thing I don't know. I got to do a little more homework into this, but I just true transparency. Whoever this Nick Nieder guy is in that list of second pitchers for me.
Whoever this guy is.
I have no idea.
I mean, I know like he was decent enough in terms of like not giving up a ton, but I just think that we're kind of reaching a little bit. There is cores on the slate, so maybe you can make an argument, but even those guys are hard to spend up for. Like,
maybe you don't need it then. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
But it is Baltimore. I mean, it's a good pitcher's park, obviously. Yeah, I mean, if this game was in Baltimore, I would have a lot of interest in Miami. You get the upgrade to go into an American League Park, and obviously one of the best hitters park versus one of the worst hitters parks in baseball.
Yep.
So Corey Dickerson is a great play. He's the standout for me. On the other side, I like DJ Stewart as another value, along with like Calhoun and Dickerson are my favorite values out there. So the way it's constructed currently, and I'm not going to stack them fully, but I don't mind Duvall or Aguiar too. I just feel like there's better plays in the slate, and I do love to go after Harvey, but I don't think I'm going to do it today. This lineup I mean, I don't know who we're playing for power outside. I mean, you got, I guess, Dickerson and Alfaro, Duvall, Alfaro somewhat. I mean, I don't know. It's not my favorite, but I do like trying to pick on Harvey. So I'm probably going to be below the field if the field's going to be that high on it. Yeah.
So just a list of guys that I have. You mentioned Alfaro, Dickerson, Aguiar, Anderson, Duvall, and the Jazz guy.
Yeah, yes. So.
I forget what position he gets.
Shortstop, second base shortstop.
Is he? Oh, I haven't been doing it. So Gisholm, Anderson, Duvall, Dickerson, and Aguiar. Yeah, it's still in kind of NBA mode. I guess with Marte out, the rest of these guys get more usage. Is that what we're supposed to say?
I mean, it's just the lineup is looking even worse to me from that because they're going to be higher in the order, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be it's going to be tough to need this also, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to move ahead?
Yeah, Pittsburgh, Detroit.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, Detroit.
Weather issues here potentially.
Oh, that's good. That's good actually.
You want to cut some of those pitchers out. I think this weather. This is like. Let me just read the actual forecast. It looks bad.
You know what? That's good. Then I don't have to mention that Tyler Anderson is like a secondary pitcher. So
yeah, there's just I love a little shout out to Roth here. Like I love he wrote his only writing about this game was LOL nope.
All right, you know what? Sounds good to me. Next,
we pass. Okay, San Fran and Philly. I don't know. I think we still are actually. I'm not sure Logan Webb is actually starting yet either. He's another one I saw as a potential thing, but I don't have any confirmation on that. Obviously, by the time you guys see this, you probably will have confirmation. So I know we get a lot of corrections in the YouTube channel sometimes, and people say, "Oh, no, this is happening." By the time we're done with the show, things are already at. Oh, I mean, it's going to happen while they're loading, and just the way things are going these days. Anyway, I'm happy to move on to the next one. Wait, Sheets, which one was it again? Sorry, I'm just trying to find it on my.
What?
Oh yeah, Logan Webb. I was trying to find if Logan Webb was really starting. If Logan Webb is starting, and potentially if there's a number of other guys that could start, I would be interested in the Phillies stack today. Good hitting weather, great environment. They kind of let people down. I think they'll be lower owned. They're actually affordable. You can stack them. You can co-stack them with Coors pretty easily. I've tried it this morning, so they're on my list as one of the stacks that I'm definitely going after. Assuming
nothing with Zach Wheeler.
You can pay up for pitching, and that's fine. I think it's fine. I'm not like obsessed. I probably should have a little more interest in him than I do.
Yeah, again, he's just another guy from. I mean, again, he's in my pool. You know what I mean? I have 12 pitchers, and he's one of them. That's why I bring it up. He's just not the best option, but he's in there.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you could play him instead of Burns. It's Burns has a tough matchup. This is an easier matchup. Although again, San Francisco does get a big advantage going and hitting in Philly. So I'm open to it. I don't know where he's going to end up for me at the end, but as of right now, I'm not using him a ton. I have him like number 7 on my list, but I totally get it, and I wouldn't.
Sounds about right.
I might change my mind as the day goes on him a little bit.
That sounds about right. About 7th, 10th, something like that.
Feels like a little bit silly that he's that low, though. As I said it out loud, but it's just hard with the other guys, I guess. But yeah, I do like the Philly side of it quite a bit.
Pretty sure that this next game that
no interest in Philly for you?
No.
Oh, interesting. Okay, even if you don't care who the starting pitcher is.
Oh well, then I have to revisit. I mean,
yeah. Okay.
I mean, maybe a little bit on FanDuel, but you want to? I just assume move on.
Yeah, let's do it.
So St. Louis Washington, I really think this might decide the slate. I think that I mean, 13 games, so it's kind of silly to say that, but I think that you could stack St. Louis and you could play Corbin, and I think either of those things can win everything. I think Corbin is, as this last game showed you. I mean, he certainly has a lot of blow up in him. He always has, and he always has a lot of upside as well. And St. Louis showed yesterday, and they have some bats, and they could get some shit done. So I like both ends of that. I like the St. Louis hitting side, and I like Corbin on the pitching side. I did not like the Wainwright, nor did I like the Washington. As you see, so Wainwright's probably steady enough, and Washington's kind of patient enough that I'm not as interested in that those two pieces. But the Corbin St. Louis thing, one or the other, I think I should have.
Yeah, I'm interested in both sides of the hitting too, but I'm not as interested on the Washington side, but I am somewhat interested, and it's mostly going to be, I think Soto matches up really, really well here. They did just see him. I think that you can, I think Soto and Turner especially would stand out to me. But I like sort of this combo. It's good hit, look like pretty good hitting conditions, I believe, right now. Let me just double check. Why did I just keep losing this game? God, there's so many games today. Okay, it's it looks like it's got the wind blowing out to center, 71 degrees. I can get behind that on this slate. I'm in behind stacking this game. In fact, my first build, I think I do have a 4-2 and then 2 from Colorado in my first build. I think Soto is one of the best plays on the slate either way, whether you're playing this game or not. Bell, Schwarber on that side, and then on the St. Louis side, it's the obvious guys. DeYoung, Goldschmidt, Arenado's had 50 career at bats against Corbin. Is hitting about 280 off him with a few home runs, but we haven't seen the good Corbin yet this year. I think that he's playable too, but I don't know how much of it I'm going to end up doing. I'm a little worried from how he's looked, but he might just be easing into it a little bit. But I don't know. I'm sort of up in the air on him a little bit.
Yep.
But yeah, you also got guys like Carlson cheap. You can get Austin Dean, another cheap guy you can play tonight potentially. It does make sense as a stack, so I like it. But I think it's going to be pretty popular.
The St. Louis side.
Yeah.
Yes, I have them as one of the more popular stacks.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to talk about Toronto and Boston?
Yeah. This is going to be a recurring theme here, but I have Ryu and Rodriguez as kind of like way down, but barely hanging on my second pitcher status. They're like 12th or 13th, but not that far removed from the top 5. Let's put it that way. So that's that. It depends how many lineups I play. I'm probably not going to get to them unless you really talk me into one of them. And with respect to the hitting, neither team really did too much for me. What about you?
Yeah, I don't really want to do much in this game. I think that if you're making a one-off play for any of the main bats, Guerrero, Bichette, from Grichuk, from Toronto, that's okay. I have enough respect for Rodriguez as a pitcher, but I could see it happening. It's also like it's a low total, but it's a nice day in Boston for hitters. It would look like so.
Yeah.
Maybe I feel a little bit worried about being underweight on this game, but I am. And Ryu's never somebody I want to pick on, but if you have a one-off of JD Martinez, I don't mind that. But I have a hard time with that game getting too far.
What's the weather in Chicago?
So we've got the I think it's the neutral-ish game, but no, it's actually never mind. It's not neutral. No, the wind's barely blowing in, but it's 37 degrees. Gotta like the pitchers here for this, or in general in these situations. I have Taiwan Walker as my second favorite pitcher. In my first build, I played he and Castillo. I really like him against a high strikeout Cubs lineup. It's not that he's like he definitely can have games where he lets you down and doesn't get through it, but like Chicago's not as patient as Philly like the last time out. He's got decent enough K stuff. And I just feel like this, in this kind of hitting environment, that I edge to the pitcher. I feel high on him. I'd like to see where the umpire data is later. I don't think I have it yet, but that's, as of right now, I have Walker as a high on my list.
I currently, and again, with full disclosure, it's close, but I have Taiwan Walker as like third on my list as too. I have him really, really high. And that's why one of the reasons why I want to look into the win thing, because the other thing that's a little annoying is that I have the Mets as being one of the better stacks for me in a neutral environment. So if the wind's blowing in, I'm going to obviously I'm going to throw those down. I'm going to obviously bump them down, to say the least, especially if it's 37 degrees. Also, so I'm probably not going to get as much of that, but just to throw it out there, I mean, I do like the lefties. Nemo, Conforto, McNeil, Lindor, obviously Dom Smith, not to mention what's his name at first base, is Alonso too. So I don't know if I could do it at 37 degrees, wind blowing in. Probably not.
It's barely blowing in. It could turn around in Chicago by the time we next.
Yeah, so I'm gonna keep him on my list for now, but I do like the Taiwan Walker idea by you.
Yeah, as of right now, I'm just gonna stay away from the hitting in this game. I think that it's cold. There's other places on the slate. As bad as Arrieta has been at times, especially the lefties over the last few seasons, it's just not a spot where I really want to go nuts with the weather being how it is. Arrieta has been very serviceable so far this year. Just throwing those things out there, so I'm not going to do anything.
Okay.
So here's another spot that I like, the pitcher.
You like this? You like the Tampa KC?
No, I like the pitching. I like Rich Hill.
You like Rich Hill?
Yeah. I think that this is another game. So Rich Hill I had as my third pitcher. just to show you how my pitchers lined up
Funny
tonight.
you mentioned it because I have Brad Keller as like my 6.
I think Brad Keller is on the list too, for sure.
Yeah.
So it's 43 degrees there. It's sort of a side wind that at first this morning was blowing in, so I had more interest in it. I was sort of playing the weather angle, but also Rich Hill is like a guy who can go out and be dominant. He also can get a blister and come out of the game quickly, and he can dominate good teams even. This is not a good team. So I just think there's enough upside for him. Another one I'm going to be interested in see what the umpire data is, but I like the idea of playing a low-owned Rich Hill potentially with the other cheapos, but he's a little bit below them for me. Maybe he's 4th actually on my list. I guess I wasn't thinking about Burns too. Sorry. But I do think Keller is in play as well.
Okay. I guess we can move on. No.
Yeah,
I had no hitting here. You had any hitting?
I think that you could I think Brandon Lau is a standout play anyway, and Austin Meadows for his price. So those are the 2 guys who I'll probably play. I hate playing the Rays when everybody plays them, but I love getting these low-owned lefties when you can. You could even throw a Rosarena and have a 3-man. I don't mind it at all if we had a little bit better hitting conditions. And again, see if the wind changes, see if the weather gets any worse. But yeah.
So Houston and Colorado, you know, you don't have your normal guys from Houston, but they are going into Coors. So you know, I got interest, right? So I'll just throw in the main. I mean, this is the guys that I liked. Are going to be Correa, Tucker, Brantley, Straw, and Gurriel would be the top value guys for me. You know, you could certainly make it work today if you wanted to do that. You know, so they rate for now as my top stack. I presume they're going to get ownership, as everybody does going into Coors, and I'll have to consider that when, you know, and what tournaments I'm in and what the rest of my lineup's going to look like. If I'm going to play Castillo with, you know, some other chalky like Castillo Burns, you know, with the Houstons, that's probably not, you know, not the wisest move in the big you know, multi-thousand person GPPs, but certainly rate to be good plays, as most teams do going into Colorado. I guess that's all I had from that. On the Colorado side, I guess there's no I got no issues playing Colorado either. They just don't rate for me to be just quite as good. But I like the Tapia, Crone, Fuentes, Story, and Black.
Yeah, I have interest in both sides, and I'll point out a couple things. Mild wind blowing in right now, nothing serious. 39 degrees. That's a little bit. I mean, look, there's been plenty of high-scoring games in Colorado when it's cold. I'm just throwing it out there. But yeah, these guys are going to be mega chalk. I will probably do my take pieces thing and try and find my favorite plays, which currently are Tucker, Brantley, Bregman, and Gurriel. And
Is Bregman in?
If he plays, he's. I have him projected in right now. But,
oh, okay.
It's up. I mean, we'll see. Makes them a much better lineup if he's in there. So I have a lot more interest if he is. If he's not, I have a lot less interest in them. But then on the other side, I have Story first, McMahon second, Blackman third, and then Crone. I am okay with every other piece in the game that I didn't mention, guys like Hilliard, Cheap, Fuentes, Tapia, but I'm probably more mini stacking than fully stacking. I might get one full stack of this, like basically this whole game in, but I mostly want to take pieces that I like the most, even if they're going to be semi-chalky. And I do think that Story, Brantley, and Tucker are the first guys who came to mind for that. And there's a lot of good shortstops there, so maybe you could say, nah, forget that with Story. And the Correa on the other side is going to be very popular, also at 4.8. And I like Trey Turner. So there's actually a lot of ways you can get different. I don't think that the ownership is going to be, it'll be high for them as a stack, but it won't necessarily be super high on the individual players in some cases, I think.
You know, if you guys didn't, you know, Bobby kind of like passed over it, you know, he didn't get into too much detail, but one of the things that Bobby taught me, like right at the beginning about baseball, is when, you know, with these Coors slates, is, you know, what a lot of people do is jam in all the Coors stuff and eat the chalk. And a lot of people, in an attempt to get contrarian, what they'll do is just fade the whole game. You know, they say, you know what, I don't need that for 40% ownership. But Bobby, what he does a lot of times is instead of doing that, he'll just pick and choose, maybe do one offs in that game or two offs in that game or something like that, so he can still get X to the environment, yet not, be fully committed to like a really chalky stack, and also not be fully committed to fading, what rates to be a good environment.
Right, exactly.
Okay, you want to move ahead?
We can move over to try the Angels again. I do want to go after Jordan Lyles in general. Okay. So Ohtani's going to throw about 75 pitches today. That's enough to keep him not as high on my list. I still think he probably does okay. But I think I'm not going to be able to quite get there. I'm a little bit bummed because I actually kind of wanted to play him.
Yeah, if you get 17 or so fantasy points, it's going to be fine. But there's so many guys,
right,
that are going to do that, or that not that they're all going to do it, but between I'll just throw out there Walker, Corbin, Morton, you know what I mean? Like one of them is going to get 20. You know what I mean? I don't know who it's going to be, but I don't think that Ohtani outscores them all.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think that the Angels stack makes a ton of sense. They're high priced in some places like Trout and stuff, and maybe people are a little bit, won't want to go back to it. I think that the problem I have with their lineup the way it is right now is basically after 5, I don't really have a lot of interest in playing any of those guys. I like Fletcher, Walsh, Upton, and Trout, and then I usually like Ohtani when he's in the lineup, but likely won't be in the lineup tonight. Puts like a funny, I don't know. I don't love the whole stack as much because of it. And then as a one-off, I think Upton makes some sense.
He hit one last night.
Yeah, well, somebody had to do something. He hit one the night before too, so he's got a little home run streak going. So Upton is definitely a guy. I mean, like
Fletcher came down in price.
Yeah, and Fletcher's mildly interesting to me as well. But
Renigfo came down in price. They all came down.
Well, Renigfo is not a
but he came down in price. I'm just saying.
Did he? I thought he was 2.1 yesterday too. 2.3. Maybe he was 2.3. But Walsh and Upton would be my favorite reasonably priced plays. Or even Walsh is a little bit too pricey probably, but Upton I think is reasonable. And I don't mind ever going back to Joey Gallo, just taking shots on him against basically anyone. I know he's struggling, but he's just the guy I had on my initial list. I don't love it actually. The more I look at it today, because there's better outfielders, but he was on my original list. He and Upton are my favorites in the game.
Let me just make sure. No, I don't get it. I didn't get any Lyles. And we already talked about Ohtani. Okay.
So,
Milwaukee, San Diego.
Yeah.
So you have Burns, who's probably going to project as the top raw points guy, maybe. But maybe not. Yeah, I guess so. So I guess he's fine. You could afford him probably today. It's not exactly the greatest matchup in the world, though. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to pay up for him. I'm probably not. Want to know the truth. I mean, I probably want to get some of those hitters. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. It's a good question. Paddock. Someone else can play him. I don't know. I just never. Every time I play him, he's got the bases loaded. I mean, just literally every time I play him.
I totally feel the same way about him. I mean, nobody's gonna play him at 10K anyway. But you can play him on FanDuel at 6,900. I don't think I'm gonna do it, but it's not the worst idea in the world.
Yeah, so someone else can play that.
Yeah. Okay, so I like Burns. Like, obviously Burns has been awesome. A lot of people think he's got like the best stuff. I'll make the counter against him is that he hasn't thrown more than 86 pitches. He hasn't needed to. He's been incredibly efficient and perfect and all that. This team can make him work a little bit more. I still like him. He'll be my main pitcher on FanDuel. And I don't think you need to save desperately, but I think that there's a good chance these other guys can outscore him and does allow you to spend up on the guys you really want. So sort of iffy where I'm going to end up with him on DraftKings, but he's certainly not been in my first build on my first 2 builds on DraftKings, and he's in my main lineup on FanDuel.
Yeah, Burns is my 4th on FanDuel.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I'm just going differently.
I know. I'm just because I don't
still
learn my
yet to
lesson.
find
I
a
don't,
reason.
I don't learn my lesson. I'm going to play Paddock at 6,900. I'm going to play Corbin at 6,500. And
The only thing you have to think about with this is like, even Rich Hill makes some sense, but you really need that 6-inning plus game quality start chance to win kind of a thing. And I just think that it's so hard for most pitchers to do that, that betting on the best bet is the best way to go. I think Zach Wheeler is my number 2 over here. That's just the way that I'm looking at it today.
Yeah. All right. That's pretty much it. Anything to add?
No, I mean, I just have real quick, I'll just say, like, I have guys who I would, one-offs or whatever you want to call them. Soto, Bell, Calhoun, Stewart, Duvall, Aguiar, Lau, Correa, Bregman, Story, Upton. So I know some of those are chalky and some of them aren't, but those were just my first look. And then value, I had the Calhoun and Stewart also I mentioned. Dylan Carlson would be another one.
I'll read a couple. Calhoun would be my top as well. Then Kyle Tucker, 4,300, and Straw at 2,900, and pretty much all the Houstons. I like Nemo at 3,500, depending on weather, I guess. Tapia, I like. Who else did we not mention? You mentioned Austin Dean, really cheap at 2,600. You could play what's his name again, Brandon Belt at 3K.
Yeah.
And pretty much everybody else you touched on.
Yep, sounds good. All right. Well, we will be back with you guys later this afternoon at 6 Eastern, and let's make some money tonight.
All right, sounds good.